Hello there, this is Dr. Paul Stoller, and the video you are about to watch is from an article I wrote titled Sex, Lies, and Trauma that was published in a peer-reviewed journal. This is part 5. The brain scan of a narcissist shows a hyperperfused or overactive amygdala, the gateway to the limbic system, the emotional center of the brain. When one has a traumatic brain injury, one gets a hyperperfused amygdala. Narcissists will have a hypoperfused prefrontal cortex, exactly what takes place with a traumatic brain injury. Narcissists will have a hypoperfused hippocampus, if not a shrinking one at that. This bears repeating. Neuroimaging studies on people with narcissistic traits, especially narcissistic personality disorder, have shown hypoperfusion in the prefrontal cortex linked to poor impulse control, empathy, and emotional regulation. A smaller or less active hippocampus associated with impaired emotional memory processing. A hyperactive amygdala linked to heightened emotional reactivity, especially to perceived threats or criticism. These are the same regions affected in traumatic brain injury. Where would a narcissist get their TBI? Perinatal or birth injuries are probably the main culprit. Hypoxia, which is a lack of oxygen during birth, forceps delivery, or other complications, can cause subtle brain injury, often not diagnosed unless it's severe. These injuries can affect the limbic system, including the amygdala and hippocampus, and the prefrontal cortex during key stages of development. Aside from birth trauma, falls, abuse, or undiagnosed concussions in infancy or early childhood could disrupt brain development. And none of this might reveal itself until emotional and social demands increase, like in adolescence or adulthood. The emotional dysregulation of a TBI is often indistinguishable from several types of mental illnesses. They show impulsivity, emotional reactivity, low empathy, and poor insight into behavior. And if that sounds like a narcissist, there may be a good reason. Not all narcissists are brain injured, and as far as I know, no one has treated a narcissist using hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which has more than proven itself to bring back appropriate metabolic and vascular activity to these brain regions. This is an incredibly important area of research that's still evolving. I am being optimistic when I say that, as I don't know of anyone connecting these dots. I am not saying hyperbaric oxygen will treat a narcissist because aberrant behavioral patterns have been established. Even if their brains became normal after hyperbaric oxygen, they would need to be trained, coached, or mentored into healthy ways of treating their fellow human beings. These are skills they don't have and would have to learn and earn. It is of interest that the brain scans of addicts show a hypoperfused prefrontal cortex, a hyperactive amygdala, and hypoperfused hippocampus, in addition to an oxytocin deficiency. So, are some addicts actually TBI survivors? Short answer, yes. Some people with addictions may actually be walking around with the scars of a TBI, especially from early life. It doesn't mean there aren't psychological or environmental causes, but we might be missing the biggest piece of them all, a TBI. Even after many years, TBIs can be treated with hyperbaric oxygen therapy. It definitely should make us less judgmental about these folks that cause so much chaos in other people's lives. But without treatment, they are still toxic and to be avoided. There is no medication that will cure a narcissist, just like there is no medication that will cure a TBI mic drop, as they say. This is the end of part 5.